Episode 56 in September 11, 2023. U.S. Farm Insurance. Australia low-level PM 2.5 and lung and bladder cancer. London heat. Excerpts from Inside Climate News September 9, 2023 weekly email. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. Rozep view: farmers' groups should not be against tightening limits on PM 2.5 since PM 2.5 contributes to climate change. As climate-fueled weather disasters hit more U.S. farms, the costs of insuring agriculture have skyrocketed. The country's farmers took in a record $19 billion in insurance payments in 2022, many because of weather-related disasters, according to a new analysis that suggests climate change could stoke the cost of insuring the nation's farmers and ranchers to unsustainable levels. The Environmental Working Group, which examines the federal crop insurance program, on September 7, 2023, found that the cost of the program soared from $3 billion in 2002 to $19 billion in 2022. The crop insurance program has become increasingly popular with farmers over the past 20 years as a way to protect themselves from drops in prices and weather-related disasters. Taxpayers subsidize about 60% of the premiums, farmers cover about 40% and pay deductibles on smaller losses. Critics of the federal program say it encourages more carbon-intensive farming and are calling for Congress to lower subsidies for big, wealthy producers. Rozep view: the groups asking for no change in PM 2.5 NOx standards did not address the health effects of PM 2.5 pollution, but instead referred only to cost of compliance with safety standards. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. Nebraska, Lincoln AG, rural groups tell EPA's Reagan to leave ambient air quality regulations alone. DTN progressive farmer. The business community has worked with EPA and its state partners to lower fine particulate matter, PM 2.5, emissions by 42% since 2001 and is. In a letter to Reagan on Thursday, agriculture and rural interests and other business groups asked EPA to maintain existing NIAID standards for fine particulate matter. Lincoln, Nebraska, DTN. Although EPA Administrator Michael Reagan announced a delay in a review of national ambient air quality standards until after the 2024 presidential election, 32 business groups, including agriculture interests, are already making their voice heard about what the standards should include. In a letter to Reagan on Thursday, agriculture and rural interests and other business groups asked EPA to maintain existing NIAID standards for fine particulate matter. Lowering standards further would harm America's ability to revitalize our supply chains and manufacturing, as well as to restore and revitalize our nation's infrastructure, the letter said. In addition, the current reconsideration is discretionary and not required by the Clean Air Act as the existing standards were just reviewed in 2020. The letter was signed by the Agricultural Retailers Association, American Farm Bureau Federation, Corn Refiners Association, the Fertilizer Institute, National Oilseed Processors Association, and the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association. Agribusiness giant Cargill is in activists' crosshairs for its connections to deforestation in Bolivia. A new report finds that the grain-trading behemoth has purchased soy grown on recently deforested land. Cargill responded that the purchases came from land cleared earlier, and says it investigates all allegations. Cargill, the world's largest agribusiness company, and the United States' largest privately held company, is coming under yet more scrutiny from advocacy groups that have traced its business operations to recently cut tropical forests in Bolivia. A medical toolkit for climate resiliency is built on the latest epidemiology and best practices. Doctors at Harvard devised the treatment principles based on the belief that every person's health is affected by climate change. Doctors at Harvard developed a climate resiliency toolkit based on the belief that every person's health is affected by climate change. Experts warn of a denialism comeback ahead of November's global climate talks. Even amid a disaster-filled summer marked by record heat, climate misinformation continues to spread online at alarming rates. Some experts fear it could slow progress at COP28. Private equity giant KKR is funding environmental racism. New report finds the climate impacts of the private equity industry create significant harm to BIPOC communities in Texas, Louisiana, and British Columbia, Canada, it found. Corporate nature restoration results murky at best, greenwashed at worst. A new study shows that many businesses are not transparently reporting the results of their nature restoration efforts. As federal money flows to carbon capture and storage, Texas bets on an undersea bonanza. Hungry for royalties, the state is awarding offshore leases to oil and gas companies that hope to bury heat, trapping carbon dioxide deep beneath the seafloor. But critics worry about leakage through rock layers, pipeline safety, and the lackluster record of carbon capture facilities onshore. Australia, Western Australia, WA, https://www.nature.com/articles/S4146-023-02411-X FBC lid equals exposure to low-level ambient air pollution and the relationship with lung and bladder cancer in older men, in Perth, Western Australia. Abstract. Air pollution is a cause of lung cancer and is associated with bladder cancer. However, the relationship between air pollution and these cancers in regions of low pollution is unclear. We investigated associations between fine particulate matter, PM2.5, and both these cancers in a low-pollution city. Conclusion. In conclusion, we found an increased risk of lung and possible increase of bladder cancer in a cohort of older men in Perth, Western Australia, WA, residing in areas where ambient air pollution concentrations are typically considered very low. This adds to the increasing evidence that negative health effects are being identified at low concentrations of air pollution. Further studies are needed to understand the carcinogenic potential of ambient air pollution at low concentrations. Australia, Western Australia, WA, https://www.abc.net.au/news/2023-09-10/mark-megowan-phone-call-epa-emissions-targets-tom-hatton/1028001212. How Mark McGowan pressured the EPA boss to remove Western Australia's, WA's, tough emissions targets in one brief phone call. September 9, 2023. YouTube extraordinary claims EPA pressured to scrap emissions guidelines. Western Australia's former Environmental Protection Chief has made the extraordinary claim that the previous Premier Mark McGowan pressured him to withdraw tough new emissions guidelines. In 2019, the EPA wanted to introduce tough new emissions guidelines. The decision triggered a backlash from Woodside and the state's mining lobby. A single phone call from the WA Premier led to the guidelines being scrapped. The then head of the Independent Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, Dr. Tom Hatton, has disclosed to the ABC never-before-told details of what he described as a political intervention unprecedented in the 50-year history of the agency. It all started in early 2019, when Dr. Hatton and his board tried to put the state's biggest emitters on a path to net zero. Western Australia's emissions were rising at an alarming rate. It was the only state in Australia to have clocked an increase in carbon output since nations around the globe signed on to the Kyoto Protocol in 2005. Watching a lack of effective policy at a federal level but also at home, Dr. Hatton said he and his fellow EPA board members saw the challenge as urgent. The Western Australia, WA, government plans to legislate a path to net zero by 2050, but in such a resource-rich state, climate and political observers know that task won't be easy. United Kingdom, London swelters in 32.7 C heat as hottest day of the year recorded, Yahoo Sport Australia. Yahoo Sport Australia. An air pollution alert, the first since June. Saturday is provisionally the hottest day of the year so far, with a scorching 32.7 C, 0.86 Fahrenheit, recorded in Heathrow, West London, the Met Office has said. Mayor of London Sadiq Khan has issued an air pollution alert, the first since June, and urged Londoners to stop their engines idling and refrain from burning wood or garden waste. United Kingdom, London. Whitechapel streets thick with smoke as 100 firefighters tackle massive flat fire in scary video. My London. A video sent to My London shows the massive fire taking over the building, and huge clouds of smoke are billowing up and away from the flats. United Kingdom, London. Residents complain of side effects after waste fire. BBC News. BBC residents in southwest London have voiced concerns about smoke from their engines idling and refrain from burning wood or garden waste. Arizona, Maricopa County News Flash. Maricopa County, AZ, Civic Engage. Maricopa County. Ozone high pollution advisory issued for Friday, September 8, and Saturday, September 9, wood burning in residential fireplaces, chimeneas, outdoor. Michigan, Portage Amazon driver saves man from burning home in Portage. YouTube authorities say an Amazon delivery driver saved a man from a burning home in Portage last month. September 8, 2023. Michigan, Portage Amazon driver saves man from burning home in Portage. WODTV.com. WODTV.com. Wood, authorities say an Amazon delivery driver saved a man from a burning home in Portage last month. On August 18, the Portage Department of Nevada, Reno. Some burn restrictions lifted. This is Reno. Wood pellet grills remain permissible. Certain fire restrictions remain in place, including open, pile, burning, the burning of dry/dead. Ohio, Toledo. Tiffin man hospitalized after attempting to start a fire with racing fuel while smoking cigarette. Toll. An early investigation indicated the man had a lit cigarette in his mouth while attempting to pour high-octane fuel onto a stack of wood and Washington, Longview. Nippon Dynawave commercial fire in Longview ruled accidental, the Colombian. Europe. Despite improvements, air quality in Europe remains troubling. Envirotech Online fine particulate matter, or PM2.5, is a major concern. These are tiny particles, nearly 30 times finer than human hair, originating from various. Morocco family flees smoking hotel after Morocco earthquake. BBC News. BBC. A woman and her husband heard wailing and saw smoke coming from their hotel. On Sunday, Ms. McCarthy confirmed the pair, who live in Petts Wood. India. Small group of Indian politicians show rare bipartisan unity to fight a common enemy. Health Policy Watch. Potential gain in life expectancy from permanently reducing PM2.5 from 2021 concentration to the WHO guideline. For over 500 million people in PM2.5 and human health. Mums exposed to air pollution give birth to Eureka alert. The researchers also used data on 5 pollutants: nitrogen dioxide, NO2, ozone, black carbon, BC, and 2 types of particulate matter, PM2.5. PM2.5 and human health superbugs catch a ride on air pollution particles. Is that bad news for people? WAMU airborne fine particulate matter, PM2.5. This means if we can control PM2.5, then we can have a twofold result. A letter sent on August 28, 2023 to the Assistant Attorney Generals threatening to sue the EPA over wood stove certification follows. Dear Assistant Attorney General. Attached is a letter that was sent to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, Director Dr. Jeanne Marrazzo, former acting NIAID Director Dr. Hugh Auchincloss and National Institutes of Health, NIH, Director Dr. Lawrence Tabak regarding regulation and the ability to shut down PM2.5 polluting indoor residential wood burners. PM2.5 pollution is known to cause antibiotic resistance, making infectious disease pandemics more likely and uncontrollable. The letter asks Dr. Marrazzo to apply a parallel track to indoor residential wood-burning pollution in 2023. This parallel track would include both EPA wood stove certification and a complaint-based system using Purple Air PM2.5 monitor data collected from the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. This would be a way to address the very real impact of PM2.5 pollution which EPA wood stove certification fails to address. We proposed that the use of Purple Air monitors would provide important data on PM2.5 air pollution that is currently missing in the EPA wood stove certification. This proposal is modeled on the approach Dr. Anthony Fauci used in 1989 that allowed a parallel track of both the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, use of AZT for AIDS that had the unfortunate side effect of blindness along with a second drug, ganciclovir, that actually cured the blindness. An earlier letter sent to your office asked that you include a complaint-based system of regulating indoor residential wood burning using Purple Air PM2.5 data in your suit against the EPA. Indoor residential wood burners are already ineffectively certified by the EPA. This violates the EPA's own National Ambient Air Quality Standards, NOx, emission limits of 35 micrograms per cubic meter in a 24-hour period. Using data from Purple Air PM2.5 monitors in the yards of near neighbors who complain of PM2.5 from hyperlocalized indoor residential wood burners would provide the missing and important evidence of this type of air pollution. Currently, if a near neighbor's complaint is made to a local health department, a complaint using federal NOx exceedance data is not considered as a basis for a complaint against neighboring indoor residential wood burning. It is also not considered as a basis for shutting down the wood-burning appliance when the indoor residential wood stove has been federally EPA certified. Lawsuits for nuisance are expensive and beyond the means of the average American and are not considered precedents in courts generally. Contacting state agencies to shut down polluting wood stove use that affects the health and lives of near neighbors has been unproductive because decisions made by the EPA determine the decisions made by state agencies. Although the scope of your lawsuit seems confined to asking the EPA to continue their wood stove certification program as is, albeit at a faster pace, we ask that you consider the intent behind asking the EPA to tighten their standards for wood stove certification on a regular basis. The intent of an environmental protection agency is to protect the environment. This has perhaps been narrowly construed to be protecting air, water, and ground from contamination from industries only. But United States citizens should actually benefit from this environmental protection as well. Tightening wood stove standards on a regular basis should result in protecting the environment as well as protecting United States citizens from harm from the air, water, and ground. We believe that the EPA's responsibilities are inextricably connected with public health responsibilities of other government agencies such as NIAID. Please try to accomplish something meaningful for the American people with this lawsuit by considering using a parallel track to include PM2.5 data in future decisions about air quality standards. Although I am not your constituent, by commencing to sue a federal agency you are representing me as a citizen of the United States and in that sense as your constituent. Thank you. Sent to Cody.Doig@alaska.gov Alaska Senior Assistant Attorney General Cody Doig. Jason.James@ilag.gov Illinois Assistant Attorney General Jason James. Goldstein@oag.state.md.us Maryland Special Assistant Attorney General Stephen Goldstein. Turner.Smith@mass.gov Massachusetts Assistant Attorney General Turner Smith. Peter.Serdo@ag.state.mn.us Minnesota Special Assistant Attorney General Peter Serdo. Lisa.Morelli at law.njoag.gov New Jersey Deputy Attorney General Lisa Morelli. Nicholas.Bottino at ag.newyork.gov New York Assistant Attorney General Nicholas Bottino. Paul.Garahan at doj.state.or.us Oregon Attorney in Charge Paul Garahan. Steve.Novick at doj.state.or.us Oregon Special Assistant Attorney General Steve Novick. Nick.Persumpieri at vermont.gov Vermont Assistant Attorney General Nick Persumpieri. Caroline.Kress at atg.wa.gov Washington Assistant Attorney General Caroline Kress. Chris.Wrights at atg.wa.gov Washington Assistant Attorney General Chris Wrights. Jennifer.Cleanair.gov General Counsel, Puget Sound Clean Air Agency Jennifer A. Dold. Jeanne Marrazzo at NIAID.gov Director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Jeanne Marrazzo. Hugh.Auchincloss at NIH.gov January to July 2023 Acting Director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Hugh Auchincloss. Lawrence.Tabak at NIH.gov Director of the National Institutes of Health Lawrence Tabak. https://ROSE Presidentes WordPress.com/ Please attach PDF letter to NIAID Director Dr. Jeanne Marrazzo to an email from you to Jeanne Marrazzo NIH.gov/. Episode 56 GF July 19, 2023. The Ask, request a complaint-based system from 10 attorney generals suing the EPA to give wood stove users certainty. The Ask, emails of 3 NIH officials Jeanne Marrazzo at NIH.gov, Hugh.Auchincloss at NIH.gov, Lawrence.Tabak at NIH.gov emails of 13 assistant attorney generals, deputy attorney generals and general counsel preparing to sue the EPA to provide clarity for indoor residential wood stove manufacturers, vendors, and users. Instead, the assistant attorneys general should ask for a PM2.5 pollution complaint-based system in place of the failed wood stove certification program. The states involved are Alaska, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington, as well as the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency. A new icon has been added to the RAWSE President's website, which is now the nearest right icon. The icon is an ask that has already been described in episode 56 GB, description of the parties who should be at the table when deciding on safe wood stove emission limits and fence line measurements, rather than wood stove certification, and emails to contact 10 deputy or assistant attorney generals and 1 general counsel. Those PDFs are included at the icon link. Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, see https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com and click on the nearest right icon for the Ask. 1. Email PDF letters to 3 officials of the National Institutes of Health, NIH. And NIAID https://ROSEPresidentesWordPress.com/ Please attach PDF letter to NIAID Director Dr. Jeanne Marrazzo to an email from you to Jeanne Marrazzo NIH.gov/ The Ask 2. Email PDF letters to 13 Assistant Attorneys Generals, Deputy Attorney Generals and General Counsel https:// Rossi Presidentes WordPress.com/ Please contact Attorneys General about August suit versus EPA asking for certainty for wood stove users. ROSEP asks for complaint-based system based on PM monitor data exceeding EP/ to the right of that. 3. Barbie goes to the dating game. https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-barbie-goes-to-the-dating-game to the right of that. 4. Cookies that may contain rocks are recalled. https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/cookies-that-may-contain-rocks-are- recalled. To the right of that. 5. The Fox Owns the Forest card game. https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/the-fox-owns-the-forest-card-game-tba. Then to the right of that, the latest months, 6, September and 7, August and 8, July 2023. of PDFs of articles with URLs to search on https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-september-2023-pdfs-of-urls https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-august-2023-pdfs-of-urls and https://rossipresidents.wordpress.com/1-july-2023-pdfs-of-urls to the right. Of that, 9. Stickers to handout for RAWZEP, 10. Flyers to handout for RAWZEP, games such as 11. Bingo for RAWZEP, 12. Crosswords for RAWZEP, 13. PM2.5's Jeopardy-free game https://youtube.be/lnsg32pydnc 14. PM2.5 Free Monopoly https://youtube.be/cuck1pseqnq and Endwood Smoke Monopoly 9e, vending machines for PM2.5 monitors, and 15. Icon links to 30-minute YouTube videos and Spotify podcasts as well as podcasts.google.com, Castbox, and Pocketcast. Pocketcast is only free on the phone app. Pocket Cast works on Apple phones, and, below those icons, icon links to monthly URLs of PDFs from June 2023 to May 2022.